before we show you these boards, I just want to stress, you're going to see like 2 future first-round picks on a lot of these, sometimes 3. Look, that can be changed. Less, more, pick swaps, second-round picks. Like, it's just to give you a general idea. We can't put everything on a graphic, but we have a lot to go through. So let's go with the teams, the level of interest teams that Sham said. Start with the Lakers, though a lot of these trades couldn't happen until January 15th. You slip that in there, TK, because of the deals they signed. But hypothetically, Lakers making a move for Zach LaVine. D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, let's say Hood Schifino as the young prospect, and then picks. Again, these would be very future picks in the Lakers case. What does everybody think about this one? We'll just get opinions on all these and try and move with some pace. But likelihood, or whatever you want to call it, Tass, what do you think?
Yes. I don't mind it at all. I know LeBron teams often make his team and front office overpay a little bit. This is towards the end of his career. He needs somebody in the regular season, as we see LeBron sitting out games and all that, take over and just be that sort of third guy. And LeBron is really, really, really good at elevating the level of his teammates. Zach LaVine has only played in 4 playoff games in his career.
Yeah.
He needs to be with somebody else. And we're watching Cam Reddish succeed a little bit in Los Angeles. He's done that with a lot of guys, J.R. Smith and all that. So I do think they need a third guy. They need a perimeter guy, essentially. How it would all work with Austin Reeves sticking around as the ball handler, that's a question. But his age is getting a little bit older here. He's got 3+ years or so on his contract.
How old is he? He's almost 29. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
29 in March.
So he's prime, but
he's
had injuries. He's had
has.
knee issues and back issues and surgery a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, and how long will this last with LeBron, who's not going to be there forever, Anthony Davis, who's getting a little older? Probably not that long, but we've seen what LeBron has done to the Cavs before. It sucks what's happening with Chicago and Lonzo Ball not being able to play, but I think they could make the Lakers work. If there's any time for the Lakers to go all in, it's here, and Zach LaVine, I think, would be a supporting guy, which is what he needs to be.
Right. What do you think about that one? The Lakers one here.
I think this would be LaVine's number 1 choice, and I think it would certainly be an upgrade for the Lakers over D'Angelo Russell and over Rui Hachimura. The Bulls, though, the only way they do this is if they really liked Jalen Hood Schifino.
Yep.
Bulls didn't have a first-round pick, so didn't have a chance to even take him. Or perhaps if you could squeeze Austin Reeves into the deal instead of Rui Hachimura or something like that.
Yeah. I think this is one of these ones where the Lakers go, yeah, we'd do that.
Yeah.
This is a nice move. From the Bulls side of things, I step back and go, I think you can do better. I think there's better options maybe that we're going to go through here. But again, this one, it couldn't even hypothetically happen until January. So you can almost put this one up on the shelf for now. All right, let's go to the Heat. That was on the list. Obviously, I guess this is, the backup to the Damian Lillard move that they didn't get in the summer. So we're throwing Caruso in here. He's in a couple of these. The Heat would receive, in this hypothetical, Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. The Bulls would get back Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Nikola Jovic as the young prospect. I mean, I guess you could throw in a Jaquez Jr. too, or you could swap them in or out. And then maybe some first-round picks, future first-round picks. Trey, Heat Bulls hypothetical.
I'm more into it if it's Jaquez instead of Jovic.
Okay.
Definitely. And who knows what the Heat's future firsts are going to look like when it was Damian Lillard perhaps going to Miami. Nobody thought those picks were good. And, people kind of give the Heat the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be good. Further on down the line, I suppose you could do this deal with Hero instead of Lowry as well. I don't know.
Right.
There are other ones that interest me more from a Bulls perspective.
Although Jimmy Butler is saying they're scoring right now, they need somebody who can score, and I think Zach LaVine would help. I know they didn't get Dame, and these are basically the same offers that were out there last year, in the middle of last season.
Yeah.
Lowry, Robinson, and now a third person has been added. Just like we talked about the Lakers, they need somebody else good, as Trey said. Maybe they shove somebody else in there as opposed to Jovic. But I think the Heat would be extremely happy to go for it as well.
Lowry's in here, the thinking being the Bulls get off of $30 million at the end of the season. This would be like one step. You'd be now moving DeRozan, I assume, or one of these other guys. Like, that's the thinking here. But yeah, you could put Tyler Hero in there instead. And like we said, flipping the Jovic or the Jaquez Jr. Feels like the Heat would want to keep Jaquez Jr. More likely to put Jovic in. Obviously, the Bulls want the opposite of that. So there's that one. Sixers. Now, Taz said yesterday, no, I don't see the Sixers doing something. I don't think they should. Well, what about Zach LaVine to Philly? Daryl Morey, he loves to go get a star. Is Zach LaVine a star? Okay. A lot of guys coming back. Morris, Sir Robert Covington, Korkmaz, free him. We have free Ferk.
Let's go, Ferk.
House Jr., 2 future first-round picks. And again, we have to note here, because these guys just came over from the Clippers, some of them, they couldn't be aggregated in a trade until basically the end of the calendar year. TK, Sixers, Bulls, hypothetical.
I think this is a no for the Sixers, particularly. There are other ways you could do this trade too, like Tobias Harris could be in it. It could be Batum instead of Covington, though it seems like Batum is kind of ahead of Covington for the Sixers. But I think what it comes down to is that more likely Philadelphia would want somebody like OG Anunoby, who might be a little bit cheaper since he's an expiring contract. And with Maxi's ascendance, they don't necessarily need somebody like Zach LaVine taking the ball out of his hands right now.
Yeah, it's almost too much of a overlap. Maxi's doing what you get on the best day from Zach LaVine, really.
I agree.
If not better.
I say the Sixers say no in this one because this would show that they're really going for it right now in this postseason. And then when they don't succeed, when they don't have this great chemistry between Zach LaVine and Tyrese Maxey, trying to figure out how to be the number one guy for the first time in a postseason, I think it gives Joel Embiid another reason to say, I don't want to be here. I think it saves time with Joel Embiid in the future if you let Maxey be Maxey and be the number one guy. So I think it doesn't really make a heck of a lot of sense. They'd be going like as a defensive team with the supporting cast they have around Maxey and Embiid. But that's all right. I think you increase the factor of Embiid leaving. And again, this summer, they got so much money to spend. They're going to pay Maxey, but they can go sign another max guy, whether it's OG, whether it's Siakam, that kind of guy.
Those guys make more sense to pair alongside Embiid and Maxey than a Zach LaVine. But you never know. I mean, Morey could see the opportunity. It's like, wow, you just lowball offer, and if the Bulls get nothing better, then does he, he could slip in there and steal them in a way. He's a great player. Zach LaVine has his limitations, but, I mean, he's still a bucket.
Oh, I mean, look at how well Kelly Oubre has played alongside Embiid and Maxey. LaVine is like Oubre to the max. Like the perfect version of Kelly Oubre is Zach LaVine. And so you could see him succeeding there, but with his long contract, I think it kind of goes against what Daryl Morey's been saying the Sixers' plans are.
True. Okay, some other teams that Shams didn't include there interested, but the Knicks are always going to come up. Let's get R.J. Barrett and Evan Fournier and 2 first-round picks. Maybe you top 5 protect them, 1, both, maybe swaps, whatever. They have a lot of draft capital. It's a little bit more immediate than a lot of these other teams that you're looking into like 27, 28, 29, 2030. So they could, because they have a bunch of other picks, really get aggressive in terms of draft capital. Trey, Zach LaVine to the Knicks. Would they want that? And how do you feel about the return with R.J. Barrett as sort of the star player?
I can see the Knicks liking this. The 3-point shooting I think would help, and having another creator who's probably like on Julius Randle's level, I think would help. Brunson would be the guy, and then Randle, not as much on his plate, not as much on LaVine's plate. I think works, but I think the Bulls say no to this one. R.J. Barrett has been off to a hot start. He's shooting like 50% from 3 right now. That ain't going to last. Maybe if they unprotect the picks, it helps, but Barrett's on a long contract, so I don't see why the Bulls would be trading for 1 fewer years of a worse player.
Yeah, I agree. Knicks, go for it. They don't have enough offense on the perimeter. We saw them in the playoffs last year. They managed to get by Cleveland. They struggled against Miami. They have a lot of solid guys in Brunson and Randle, Mitchell playing really well, and then Grimes as your 4. But it'd be nice to have a guy who could just take over. And Zach LaVine could be that guy. R.J. Barrett has been in so many rumors. It kind of makes sense, but do the Bulls feel like they get enough? I don't know. That's tough because we watched R.J. Barrett in the playoffs last year. He was a off-the-ball guy. He may not be enough. He just may not be enough.
The thinking with this one from the Knicks side of things is they, by all accounts, at least pursued Donovan Mitchell in trying to get him and didn't put together something that was enticing enough to the Utah Jazz, and that's when Cleveland, slipped in there and got him. So is Zach LaVine sort of a Donovan Mitchell type player? Mm-hmm. I think so, a little bit, though Zach LaVine's older than Donovan Mitchell was when he is traded, and his contract's, a little bigger, and he doesn't have the playoff success that Donovan Mitchell did have. I actually bring that up because Donovan Mitchell, when he was traded, it was for Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, Colin Sexton, who had signed to a 4-year, $72 million deal in the sign and trade, and then 3 unprotected first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. That's what it took to get Donovan Mitchell. I don't think that's the haul that the Bulls get. Mm-hmm. That's obviously where they're shooting for. Because if you look at LaVine's numbers last season with the Bulls in a full year, and you compare them to Mitchell's numbers the season before he got traded in the offseason, they're damn near comparable. They're very, very similar. But again, Mitchell a little younger, playoff success, the contract different. So my point is it will just be a little bit less than that. So picks and players.
I mean, if the Bulls can get a combination of 5 first-round picks for Zach LaVine, that would be amazing. It ain't going to happen. No. 2, I think, is reasonable.
I think you're right.
But the Knicks are going to save all their stuff for Donovan Mitchell. They're going to try it again. Run it back.
Yeah, probably. Okay, how about the Warriors? We have 2 options for the Warriors. Both involve the Warriors getting Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. We know Kerr wants Alex. So you could do it with Klay Thompson. Man, that'd be a knife to the back of Klay Thompson, though, but business. Moses Moody, let's say picks, there'd be swaps and all that. Or instead of Klay Thompson, it's Andrew Wiggins, it's Kuminga, it's Moody, so it's a lot of the young guys. Then you got to get Corey Joseph in there. Guy Santos, people are going to be like, who? He's a Brazilian player that the Warriors have, and then picks. So, again, Zach LaVine and Caruso to the Warriors, and it's either for Klay and, let's say, Moses Moody, or it's for Wiggins, Moody, and Kuminga. Let's add its basic and draft capital. Which one do you prefer more, TK?
This one is interesting to me because as soon as the LaVine news came out, Warriors fans were like, let's get him. We need him right away. And he would definitely help Golden State. They've said themselves, and we've said it as well, they need somebody else to score and create. And that's definitely something Zach LaVine can do. There was the lip reading with Steve Kerr last year where he was telling Alex Caruso, I'd love to have you on our 4th place FIBA World Championship team, or perhaps our Golden State Warriors team. Well, yeah, Skeets, I'm setting the expectations low for the redemption tour in the summer. It's nice to get to redeem your team every 8 years. It's ridiculous. But that's the question. Who would Golden State move? Would they really trade Klay Thompson?
Ooh.
He's an expiring contract. He hasn't looked great to start the season, but he did lead the league in threes made last year. He had his 2 highest scoring months of his career last season. It also feels like Andrew Wiggins at his best is more important to the Warriors being able to contend this year. Like if he returns to where he was during the 22 playoffs, they look like a much better team. But Klay Thompson is a Warriors legend, so I think this one is tough, but a deal could get done because Kuminga and Moody still have some intrigue, I think. We've seen good flashes from Kuminga. Moody feels like a guy who needs more minutes, but he's just kind of stuck behind some bigger name players in Golden State. So some combo here kind of makes sense to me.
I agree. I would go more with the Wiggins, Kuminga, Moody, and picks move rather than Klay and Moody.
From whose side? From the Bulls side?
From the Bulls side, yeah, because Klay is towards the end of his career, as incredible as he's been. It would be a bit of a stab in the back to let him go if you're the Warriors. You would do that in a heartbeat, I think, if you're the Warriors. You get an incredible defender in Alex Caruso, an incredible scorer in Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
But the Bulls don't have anybody for the future because Klay's getting old. Moody would be the only guy. We don't know how great he's going to be. But if you can say Kuminga, Moody, and Wiggins, who hasn't looked like himself, and I think the Warriors would be okay trading him. He hasn't looked right. There's something going on there. But they're going to be tiny. The Warriors are going to be tiny.
That would be a small team.
Yeah, if they trade Wiggins. Wiggins was guarding Luka Doncic. He would guard everybody. So it'd be a weird scenario for the Warriors.
It'd be Caruso to do it.
Yeah,
Caruso and Gary Payton just Spider-Man memeing each other.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the Warriors, you guys feel like there's something there, though. They could get there. Yeah. The Klay part's fascinating because we know they weren't agreeing on a contract extension, and I mean, it'd be pretty cutthroat, don't get me wrong. The Bulls would do it because it'd be an expiring deal, and you open up that, and you're trying to you're hoping Moody or Kuminga, I guess, in these hypotheticals, is like the Lauri Markkanen that the obviously Jazz got when they traded Mitchell, like that turns into an all-star. But a few more wild card teams. Utah Jazz. Trader Danny, why not? He's going to give him a call. And he could get there, I guess, with a Colin Sexton, a Kelly Olynyk, a Taylor Horton Tucker, here's a who, and two future first-round picks. There would be draft capital here, of course, and probably swaps. It's almost more around that. The likelihood of this, Trey, you're sort of making a face.
This one's low for me, unless the Jazz are going to kick in some valuable picks, maybe their own, maybe like those later Cavaliers picks they have that we just don't know what Cleveland's going to look like by the 29 season or something like that. Taylor Horton Tucker coming home to Chicago. Can you imagine? Oh, wow. Great stuff, but I don't see this one happening.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Not enough.
Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk, you got THT and Colin Sexton. Just not enough as far as the future goes for the Chicago Bulls. Nah, we can start talking. Maybe Taylor Hendricks can come over. Maybe Keontae George, who's been amazing for the Utah Jazz.
One of those young guys in there.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, the Jazz do need some guard play.
Yeah, they do.
But
they're trying.
Do they want to be at Zach LaVine?
LaVine and Markkanen back together. Love it, man.
Okay, a couple other wildcard teams. The Hornets. Gordon Hayward has a big contract. James Bouknight, he still is on the Hornets.
We saw him
last night. He looks like a cat still, in case you were curious. And then a bunch of draft picks and swaps. Zach LaVine, would the Hornets make a move for him? Tass, your opinion on this?
3 picks we've got here on this trade.
Sure. Yeah.
They're gonna try
start the bidding.
They're gonna try Bouknight in Chicago. I don't know if the Hornets even do this.
No, that's what I'm more curious.
Yeah.
Like when we get to these wildcard teams, do the Jazz want Zach LaVine? Do the Hornets want him? You know, we got the Magic we'll get to in a second, but do these teams even want Zach LaVine?
No. When you're bad, like the Charlotte Hornets are, it doesn't look like they're making the postseason again. Would you bring in Zach LaVine as a guy who's probably not going to help you make the playoffs? I know it sounds a little presumptuous, but he's only made the playoffs once in his 9-year career. And with the Hornets, I don't like that fit. There's other teams that make a lot more sense to me, but this team is just bad.
I included them because you get new ownership in there, and they get like a little itchy. Like, they got to do something. We saw it with the Wolves doing it when they got really aggressive going to get Gobert and gave up 1 million draft picks. You know, now that other guys have taken over there for MJ, could they see this and say, "Oh, Zach LaVine, he's an all-star player. He'll put people in seats. Put him with LaMelo." You could see why they could talk themselves into it. I'm not saying it's smart, but thoughts on this one?
I think this is not bad, to be quite honest. I think the Hornets kind of should do it. They need somebody else alongside LaMelo. Like, P.J. Washington is a decent player. You know, they brought him back. That's fine. Terry Rozier has been out of the lineup for a little bit, but LaVine would come in as the number 1 scorer. He would look nice next to LaMelo, and one of his career highlights is in Charlotte when he went crazy in the last 8 seconds of a game here. Yeah. So I don't think this is terrible from Charlotte's perspective.
And Gordon is an expiring deal as well, and that's the thinking from the Bull side of things. And get a bunch of picks. Maybe there is another young player that the Hornets throw in.
The Hornets should not trade 3 future first-round picks for Zach LaVine, but 2 and some expiring dudes would be okay.
Okay,
I think.
And then finally, the Magic. You've seen maybe seen them. Their name thrown around a lot in Zach LaVine trades because they have a lot of guards. You could package some together. You could really get like a star player there. So let's say to make it happen, Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, picks. Again, we got 2 on the board there for Zach LaVine. Trey.
I hate it.
You hate it.
I hate it because it's the Orlando Magic.
Oh yes, there is that part too.
Maybe do a Vooch for Wendell Carter Jr., Franz, and Jet Howard trade. How about this? Orlando should do this. Zach LaVine would be kind of exactly the guard that they need because they don't have the guard that they need. And they need somebody to shoot it from outside. He can play off the ball around Paolo and around Franz. I think this is fair for the Magic.
Yeah, I agree. The Magic do it. I don't know about the Bulls. Is it enough you're getting Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, and the pickies? I think you're just hoping if you're the Bulls to get somebody that's going to be part of your future. As decent as Fultz has been and Cole Anthony. The Magic say, we can't shoot. We need somebody who can shoot the ball.
Do you like that from their side?
Zach would be exciting for sure.
All right, there it is. We'll call it there. I mean, we did about, a third of the league, or close to it at least. Let's hear your Zach LaVine trades. Throw them at us there in the stream team. Throw them in the YouTube comments. You can tweet at us at NoDunksInc, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this a lot more. both LaVine, Caruso, Vooch, DeRozan. That's the other thing. You see Zach LaVine trades, and then you see the fan base for the hypothetical go, we don't want Zach LaVine. We prefer Caruso and DeRozan or something
Everybody
like
wants
that.
Caruso.
Yeah, there's that whole thing. So let's hear from you guys.